Hey everybody, this is IndieGeek, and today I'm taking a look at Reignmaker. This is a newly released game on Steam from Frogdice. It is available for PC, Mac, and Linux for $15. And I am just going to jump in with a new game here. I've played for about an hour, but I'm going to start up a new game. I think that will be the best way to kind of show off what's going to go on here. So, we can name our city. I will just name it... Oh, I don't know. Indie Land. What a name. What a name. Alright, so then we can choose basically whatever upgrade we want. So we can have plus 5 tower health, plus 10% troop health, or plus 5% triad coin drops. I'm going to go with the coin drops. And... with that, we will start off Indie Land here. Alright, so this is going to give us kind of an overview of what's going on here. So we've got our home city, and basically we can build buildings. I'm not going to go too much into depth at like following the actual following like the tutorial. I'm just going to go for it and kind of explain things as I go. So basically we've got all of these buildings, and then we've got villagers as well. So this is like the city portion of it, and we can basically make troops. We can spend our resources how we would like to, and then as things get better we will be able to upgrade buildings, and we will be able to make more things, which basically makes us a better town. So this half of the game is kind of like a, I guess you could think of like Civilization, but on like a really small scale, because we're only going to deal with our one city here. And basically we are going to attempt to kind of grow our city more and more. Alright, so the other half is the conquest portion, and this is the half that I think I prefer, but there are two halves to it, like I said, and it's going to be kind of personal preference to determine which one that you prefer out of the two. So this half is basically like a puzzle quest style match 3, where we are actually going to match spells and use that to do damage. So we do that, and then we can return to the city. So there are times where you actually will need to go and do that. And then when we come back, something will always have happened when we come back, and we will need to kind of determine the best kind of outcome. And well, not necessarily the best. I mean, you can rule how you want. So basically, the tutor was who was attacking us, so we can determine how to deal with him. So we can execute him, we can set him free, and he'll probably come back. We can let the people decide, or we can have his body preserved with magic, and you hang it up from the nearest tower, and let that be a sign to future invaders. So I'm just going to let the people decide. The people voted to allow him to live, and that's kind of that section of it. So you can see by doing that we gained more resources, which is where we get kind of the back and forth between these two sections of the game, because in order to build our city we need the resources, and then that of course leads us to coming over here to take care of this side of it so we can get those resources and go back. Okay, so that is kind of the gameplay. Sorry, I feel like I've been talking for about 5 minutes non-stop here to get this stuff kind of explained in the beginning. But it's not that complicated, and that's kind of the nice thing. It's really easy to just sort of pick up, and you kind of just understand it right off the bat, which I definitely appreciate. As far as the gameplay goes, like I said, I prefer this segment over the kind of city management part of it, but I know there will be plenty of people that prefer the city management part over the match 3 part. So, you know, it's definitely going to depend on which games you like in general. But if you like both of these kind of games already, that's where the game really shines. And I do tend to like city management kind of things. It's just not always my favorite. So I have found enjoyment in both sides of the game, which is nice. And it really has this kind of Puzzle Quest vibe. Because, of course, Puzzle Quest kind of mixed Match 3 with like an RPG. And, of course, this isn't really like an RPG per se, but it is kind of a mixture of kind of taking a Match 3 game and turning it into something new and fresh and kind of unique. You know, I haven't really seen Match 3 mixed with city management before, so this allows for something new that I would imagine not many people have seen, because I can't really think of another game that does this. But this is how this section goes. And then, you know, it is kind of gated progress, so every once in a while you will run out of conquests to do. You know, there won't be any attackers, and you will have to go back to the city and kind of determine the various policies that need to be put in place, as well as determine how to spend your points, basically, that you earn here. So as we move on, it's just going to go more into detail on kind of the other things that will show up in the Match 3 portion. They're all the same things that you would normally expect from Match 3 games. Things like blocked squares, stuff like that. We do have, kind of in the top left, you can see that we have sort of mini missions, I guess you could call them, that take place throughout our gameplay here. And the way that those work is that they will just show up, and then your goal is to try and do them within the time limit. They're not necessarily my favorite thing, because they're not always possible, I've found. So like this one was to pick up a scroll, but I haven't seen a scroll, and I don't think there's anything that we do to influence whether or not a scroll drops. It's just like a random drop from an enemy. So, I mean, you could fight enemies faster, of course, which of course I'm trying to do that, but that still didn't guarantee that a scroll would drop. And that's how it works sometimes, is they tend to be a little hit or miss. But for the most part, I think they're okay. They do allow for, you know, the possibility of getting like some extra resources out of it, which is always nice, of course, because we need those resources to upgrade things back in the town. So that's kind of the purpose of that. And it just provides one more outlet for gaining resources. So you can see make a match using void runes. We can easily do that, so we got 1 ore. But I mean, this is kind of what's there for the gameplay as far as like starting a game. I know near the end it gets pretty high level. There's lots of stuff going on, and the city management becomes much more of a big deal later on. At the beginning, things are pretty basic, as they should be. It does a really good job of easing you into the game. And I will probably do one more here. As you can see, our boards change pretty drastically, which I appreciate. It keeps things kind of fresh, keep things moving along. We don't ever feel too kind of stuck in one thing, because our board is kind of, you know, constantly getting bigger or smaller or different shapes, things like that. So, you know, that at least keeps the battle portions interesting. I have found so far the battle portions to be pretty easy. Of course, you saw that I clicked in on normal difficulty, so maybe at some point I will need to try out hard difficulty and see if that's a bit of a better fit. Of course, I'm not totally sure what the difficulty levels actually change, so that would be interesting to see, I guess. I'm sure the combat would be harder. I think that's obvious. I don't know what the difficulty would do as far as the city building part of it. I don't know if maybe it would just make things cost more, or if there would be like more conflicts or what. But I'm sure it scales well, difficulty-wise. I mean, like I said, there's not too much more to say past this point. You know, overall, my thoughts have just been really, really positive. I've had a good time with it. I could see this being a game that I, you know, play a couple times a week and just kind of knock out a couple missions, set a couple policies in place, and then put it off for a couple days. You know, it feels like a pretty good kind of pick up and play experience, and I like that. I think that's what a match 3 game should be. And you know, I definitely like these experiences that take match 3 and turn it into something that we haven't seen before, because there's so much that's kind of been stagnant with match 3, you know, and no one does anything original for a long time. And then, you know, something like Puzzle Quest or something like Reignmaker comes along and kind of changes all that. I am going to jump into this one because I think, yep, this is our boss. Perfect. I wanted to show this off because this, again, is where things get interesting. And then I will spend a little bit of time doing some city management before we wrap this up. But, you know, like I said, if you couldn't tell, I'm definitely having a good time with it so far. I would highly recommend this to anyone who's a fan of Match 3, anyone who liked things like Puzzle Quest, and of course, if you like city management, then this is like a no-brainer, because it's got that as well, and it all feels pretty good. It all integrates really well and is kind of fun and interesting to do. So, yep, we get a little more about peasants here. And then we've got more policies. I'm just going to go through these quickly. Not to kind of make light of these decisions, but just so that we can kind of get on to showing off the rest of this. So I'm going to purchase more stuff. And then what's kind of cool is that we can actually do things like create units. So we need food, of course. That makes a lot of sense. So we'll create some food. We can increase our population. We can make wood. We can make copper. And then as we upgrade, of course, we've got more options to make of these things. Let's see. Oh, cool. So these are actually like extra spells, so maybe I'll research that. And research this. So that gives us some things to do, and then we can also hire people, basically, to help us out in a match. So if we want to do that, those are good to use for like a boss battle, of course. And then in the armory we can actually research various like weapons and stuff that are also added into our inventory when we go into a match. So, you know, I mean, it does get to the point where now it makes the most sense for me to just go do a match, because then if I do that, by the time I come back, everything will have been purchased, and I'll be ready to purchase more stuff because I'll have more resources. So, you know, you really do get this sense of back and forth. In general, I have found that I spend a lot more time. So you can see now I could gear up if I wanted. I will put the spell there. That's, I mean, that's kind of all I have available. I can put them here, but I don't want to use them yet. And then maybe we'll jump in and do one more here before calling this to a close. So, and I have found that it's best to kind of just start attacking right off the bat. I mean, enemies will start coming basically right off the bat, and I think that you might be able to attack them kind of off screen. I'm not totally sure if that's how it's worked when I've done that, but it feels like I can kill a lot of enemies right at the edge, especially if I'm kind of looking forward and trying to make matches right from the get-go. So I'm seeing if I can get this little extra mission. I'm kind of doubting it because it's kind of a tough one.
Awesome.
Yep, I did do it. Awesome. Exactly like you heard the voice say. Awesome. So, I mean, that's, like, I guess I've really only talked about the gameplay, which is a little abnormal for me. But it's kind of one of those games where no offense to whoever worked on the art and the music, the art and the music is kind of secondary to the gameplay in this case. That being said, I think the art looks nice. It's a pleasant game to look at, which you're always kind of looking for with a match 3 because you're going to be looking at all the different gems a lot. I think they've all got kind of a nice character, and they represent their elements well. Let's see. That should do it. Sorry, I was just kind of trying to get that quest done. And then seeing if I can make sure not to get hit here. Seems like that handled that alright. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like the art is... I think the art has done a really good job of just kind of accentuating everything that's going on. The art isn't like over the top or anything, and it doesn't need to be. It's just exactly what I need to see for a match 3 game. Something nice, something pretty to look at, and kind of keep me interested in what's going on. And that's what it does. And then I feel the music has kind of done the same thing as well. There aren't any tracks that I've heard that I'm going to be like singing for the rest of the day or anything. But it has provided a good background for the gameplay. So again, we've got a policy to set. Let's see. Oh yeah, we should... Yeah. I'll let them jump in. Sure. So,
Where's that list that the boss gave me?
I mean, you can see that we got some things built, but some things are still waiting. But at this point would be where we would now kind of upgrade more things and then go do another battle. And that's kind of, it's nice that it's split up like that into 2 sections, because I've found myself kind of sitting here finding it hard to stop sometimes, because I'm just like, alright, keep going, do this, alright, now I'll go do that, and then I'll do this, and I don't really stop at any point. And that's kind of what happened, is I played for like 40 minutes, and then I was like, oh shoot, I better do my video. And that's aw, that guy's sad because he can't grow a beard. I'm sorry, man. And that's good praise for the game, because it means it's definitely got that kind of addictive quality to it. But I think that pretty much covers everything with it. Like I said, I've had a really good time with it so far, and I'm looking forward to playing more. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes and how kind of big the city gets and how crazy the battles get. But like I said, if you are into the 2 genres that are represented here and want to see what happens when they're combined, follow the link below. Give this a go, because I think it's really good, and I think that if you like this stuff, you will definitely get a kick out of this one. So, as always, feel free to leave comments if there's anything that you would like to comment on. Subscribe to the channel to see more of my videos every single day, and if you liked my look at Reignmaker, then please do consider clicking the like button, because that helps me out a lot, and I definitely appreciate everything you do to help. So with all of that being said, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.